Hello friends. Today I'm going to share a story that might completely change how you see your own struggles. It's about a young boy who once believed his problems were far too heavy to carry. But he didn't realize one simple truth: most of life's troubles aren't as big as they seem, and their answers often lie right in front of us. By the end of this story you'll see that truth for yourself. So sit back, take a deep breath, and stay with me till the very end. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town surrounded by green fields, there lived a boy named Ethan. Ethan was clever, but he had one flaw: he worried too much. Even the smallest obstacle looked like a mountain to him. If the weather turned too hot, he would sigh, "How can anyone work in this heat?" If his teacher gave homework, he'd grumble, "This is impossible." If his mother asked for help, he'd mutter, "Why is everything so hard for me?" Day by day, Ethan's complaints grew louder. People slowly began to avoid him. After all, no one enjoys being around someone who only sees problems. One evening, Ethan's father, David, finally grew tired of hearing his son's endless sighs. He called Ethan and said, "Come with me. I want to show you something." They walked for a long time until they reached a quiet pond at the edge of the town. The water was still and calm, reflecting the fading light of the evening sky. David handed him a small handful of salt and said, "Throw it in." Ethan tossed the salt into the pond. His father then said, "Now taste the water." Ethan bent down, took a sip, and immediately spat it out. "It's so bitter," he said. David nodded silently, then gave him another handful of salt and led him toward the wide river nearby. "Throw it in here," he said. Ethan obeyed. When his father asked him to taste the river water, Ethan cupped his hands, took a sip, and looked up in surprise. "It's fresh. I can't taste the salt at all." Smiling gently, David said, "Son, life's problems are like this salt. They'll always exist and their amount rarely changes. But how much they affect you depends on the size of your heart. If your heart stays small like the pond, every problem will make your life bitter. But if you make your heart big like the river, you'll hardly feel the bitterness at all." Those words sank deep into Ethan's mind. For the first time, he realized maybe the world wasn't as cruel as he thought. Maybe the real issue wasn't life, it was how he looked at it. That night, lying in bed, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about the pond and the river. He whispered to himself, "If I stay like the pond, I'll keep suffering. But if I become like the river, I can handle anything." From the next morning, Ethan began to change, little by little. When his teacher gave him extra homework, he didn't complain. Instead, he told himself, "This is my chance to get better." When his mother asked him to carry buckets of water, he smiled and thought, "This will make me stronger." Even when the sun burned down on his back, instead of groaning, he said, "This is just another test. I can face it." At first it wasn't easy. His old habit of complaining tried to pull him back. But every time he remembered his father's words, he pushed forward. Weeks turned into months and something remarkable happened. Ethan began to change from the inside out. He was no longer the boy who panicked at every little thing. People noticed his calmness. His friends started enjoying his company. His teacher praised him. His parents felt proud. And most importantly, Ethan felt lighter, free. Problems still came, storms, exams, chores, but he didn't drown in them anymore. He floated through them like the river, steady and strong. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Ethan sat quietly by the river. He watched the flowing water carry leaves, sticks, and stones away without stopping. He smiled and whispered, "Every problem in life has a simple solution. It's not about removing the salt. It's about becoming the river." So remember this, my friends: life will always bring challenges. Some days will be hard and some nights will feel endless. But the answer isn't to complain or run away. The answer is to grow bigger, open your heart wider, and face your problems with calm. Because the truth is simple: problems don't shrink. We grow. And when we grow, every problem becomes small. So next time you feel stuck, ask yourself, am I being the pond or am I being the river?